Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football, from the latest signings to this year's breakout stars and all of the news in between. As always, I am Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah. Hello, guys.
Hello
Happy
there.
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, the 15th of November.
Hey, yeah.
Okay, getting just in depth on them.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to talk Monday Night Football, the game between the New York Giants and the Cincinnati Bengals that was entertaining and not entertaining and close and not close. And we're going to talk about it, a game in which there was some interesting things that happened in it. We're going to talk, after our first break, we'll talk college football playoffs, and we'll do our best to predict what this week will look like. I'm 2 for 2 so far. Jeremiah 1 for 1. We'll see if we can make it a winning week for us here and improve.
It's gonna be hard to predict. It's gonna be hard.
I
don't know what to expect now.
I already did it once in the in the sports show, so I have an idea.
Okay,
I'll tell you what that is, but we'll get to that after the first break. And then to end the show, we're going to talk Alshon, Jeffery, receiver of the Chicago Bears, and some issues regarding him and some 4 games coming up here, if you can put 2 and 2 together if you already don't know. But, like I said, we're going to start with Monday Night Football, and that was the New York Giants defeating the Cincinnati Bengals 21-20, 6-3. Now the Giants move on the year. They're 4-1 at home, so impressive record there at MetLife. Cincinnati Bengals dropped to 3-5-1, and they are awful on the road this year, 1-4. Another team in the division of the AFC North that is just not playing great this year in terms of what they normally do. Leading passer in this game was Eli Manning, 3 touchdowns on 28 completions, 240 yards. He did have 2 boneheaded interceptions, but hey, it's Eli Manning.
3 touchdowns. Eli Manning things.
Exactly, 3 touchdowns at 3 different receivers, the leading one being Odell Beckham Jr. with 97 yards on 10 receptions and that touchdown. Sterling Shepard and Jarrell Adams each got touchdowns as well. Andy Dalton, on the other hand, 204 yards, 1 score, 1 interception, an interception late that was definitely significant by a guy that I wanted the Steelers to get as a fan. Landon Collins, who went to the second round, and they went right past him.
Yeah,
they're like Bud Dupree. I was like, no,
he's having
a great
year, Pro Bowl year for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So a late pick there kind of hurt him. Not much rushing backup for him in this game. 78 yards as a team, 46 from Jeremy Hill. He had a touchdown early in the game, but kind of went away after that. Giovanni Bernard, of course, it's more of a receiving threat, even though he didn't do much of either in this game. 7 for 17 in terms of rush yards and rush attempts there for him. Dalton got it on the party, 1 for 15 late in the game there. Eifert, though, he did have a big long catch, so he had 3 for 96. I don't know if you saw his long catch.
I actually didn't see his long catch.
Okay.
But I know he had one. It was a 71-yard reception.
So what was really weird to me in this game, 71-yard reception. The formation in which this play was run is you had a center and 2 guards, and then Andy Dalton and shotgun. That's it. You had your 2 tackles wide left in front of a receiver as if they're going to do a quick screen, like those bubble screens. And then Eifert was pretty much where a tight end would be if he was in his 3-point stance on the line with the rest of the linemen, but he was standing in 2-point stance with a space between him and the guard as if there's a tackle there. And then there was a receiver wide right. And they ran the play out of that. They faked the screen left. I don't know what else they faked. They got Eifert wide up the middle, but it was weird. I give them a lot of credit for coming up with it. That formation.
And
they did it twice in the game.
And it might not happen again.
Yeah, they did it twice in the game. They ran something completely different out of it the second time, but it was wacky. And it paid off big time. And ended up scoring on that drive. And 71 yards. That's Eifert's longest career catch to date. 3 receptions on 5 targets. Now, just like Odell Beckham Jr., AJ Green was targeted 11 times, but he came down with only 7 of them. So only 7 for 68 yards and a score. He did get kind of hurt late in the game, a little aggravated, something in that one. And then not to be forgotten real quick, the rushing game for the Giants. Rashad Jennings had a good day 887 yards, one long of 25. So, he kind of added all those yards up together. Paul Perkins, not a bad day for him either. He did have 31 yards. And Eli Manning getting in the game with some rushing yards, 3 for 4. That's a great average there, Eli.
There we go.
That's a great average,
Have
Eli.
a day, Eli Manning.
Have a day, Eli Manning. Excuse me. But the problem with this one is just the Bengals can't protect Dalton. He was sacked 3 times. And the worst part about it is he was sacked, yeah, but he was hurried and hit 6 different times. And they were 2 for 11 on third down. They could not convert on third down. So what do you think coming out of this game about the Bengals? This team's sitting at 3-5-1. The only big difference from last year to this year is Hugh Jackson being gone. Yet this team is a completely different team. What do you say to that?
I don't see this team, making any type of splash to the playoffs. I said yesterday this is going to be the game maybe to possibly get them back on track. That's why I picked them to win.
And I picked the Giants.
They just look terrible. Like don't get me wrong, they had a chance to win the game, but there's just something off about this team.
There's something different about them this year. I don't know quite what it is.
I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. I can't find the root problem.
Okay. Look at you.
Can't find the root canal. I'm kidding.
Oh,
okay. But no, there's just something about this team that is missing. Maybe is it the coaching? Maybe is it leadership? Is there like a player or two away? What is it?
I'll tell you something that's not helping them. It's the penalties. Again, in this game, they had 9 penalties for 60 yards. Killer penalties, a lot of holding penalties on first downs. That's something that's been an issue this year for them. And they're just not winning these close games like they have in the past. You know?
And then they weren't really great against the run yesterday as well. The Giants had 122 rushing yards. The Giants have been one of the worst rushing teams this year.
Mm-hmm.
So teams are finding ways to run through this defense, or opposing offensive linemen have been dominating the line of scrimmage against the Bengals, especially last night. So maybe that is a problem, the defensive line, front 7, maybe. But they were in this game the entire way. Remember, they led, I think, like twice in this game at one point.
Yeah. I think an issue for them is really converting in penalties. You look at on the season, their third down percentage is 35.1. And you look at their percentage of penalties, they currently have 57 penalties on the year for 454 yards. That's not helping them. They're not getting
third down has been terrible for them. They went 2-11 last night.
Yeah, exactly. I was saying, yeah. So they're just doing a lot of iffy things that aren't typical of this Bengals team that's been kind of one of the better teams in football in the last few years. So now we look at their schedule heading into the next few games. As it stands, they came off this loss to the Giants, of course, in a game in which they have either lost or tied 4 of their last 5. Not a good start. Now they play the Bills next. That is very much a team they could lose to, a team that played every bit with the Patriots, a team that just played every bit of a game with the Seahawks, a game that I thought they had a very good chance of winning. A team they definitely can lose to. And then they play the Ravens. That's a inner and AFC North matchup, inter-conference matchup there for them, the team that is currently in first place, and you can't take any of those games for granted. And then we have the Eagles to finish off that stretch of 3 games leading us into the beginning of December. And the Eagles at one point this year were the best team in that division until the Cowboys consistently showed otherwise. But they're not necessarily a pushover either. So they have some work to do in that regard. That's definitely, they can very well lose those next 3 games depending on how they play.
Maybe they could lose on December 11th to the Browns. Maybe. Yeah, the Browns can get their first win. Maybe
they want it. Who knows? Maybe they don't want it.
Yeah.
And look at the Giants. The Giants play the Bears this upcoming Sunday. That's a game I think they can win. Then they play the Browns, another game I think they can win. And then probably a tough game against the Steelers, who are also down this year, but show they are every bit of a matchup against the Cowboys, who are arguably the best team in football. Ezekiel Elliott went out of his way this week to say that the Steelers were the best team that they think they've played all year. So definitely a team that they can struggle against. And then that being said, the aforementioned Cowboys the following week on Sunday Night Football on the 11th of December. So they have an easy hard, easy kind of stretch. I think they can win the next 2 games, and I think the next 2 games after that will be tough for them.
I don't know. This schedule's a little bit more tough than the Bengals schedule. Like, they got to play the Bears. That's not tough at all. Browns, that's not tough at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if Eli Manning does Eli Manning things in that game.
He said the same thing going into last night, and Eli Manning was one of the main reasons why they won that game.
He was.
I mean, he still did Eli Manning things.
He was.
Run for 4 yards on 3
carries.
carries.
Yeah, but, Eli Manning potentially could have, 4 interceptions in one game.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. They're going to win the
but
next
their defense has been playing better.
Their defense has been. And Landon Collins has been a stud.
And Olivia Vernon.
Probably one of the best defensive players this year, Landon Collins.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Vernon was a beast last night as well. Even though this team,
Jason Pierre-Paul's playing well.
Even though this team doesn't have a lot of sacks this entire year, they're still finding ways to play effective defense. But going back to the Giants' schedule, they're probably going to win the next 2 games against the Bears and the Browns. Steelers, Cowboys, Lions, Eagles, and Redskins. That's a tough stretch right there.
It is. And for a team that, as it stands right now, are -8 in their turnover differential, that's 3rd worst in the league. They are still somehow 6-3. So their defense is doing a good job. They're finding ways to win. Like you said, their rushing game isn't great. Yeah, it was 31st in the league heading into last night. So that might show you more to the.
They might honestly. This is what might happen. They might sweep the season series of the Cowboys and still lose the division. That could happen.
Yeah, that very well could happen. Yeah, because as people forget, the only loss of the year was to the Giants. So
yeah, which is the game that the Cowboys should have won.
Yeah, I mean it was. If that game got played in the last 4 weeks, the Cowboys would have won.
Oh yeah, by far.
Because I don't think you would have those stupid mistakes the same way. But alas, that's how it looks. Anyways, we're gonna take our first break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk college football and try our best here to see if we can predict what this ranking is going to look like tonight. So we'll take our first break and come right back here to do that in just a minute at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and it's time to talk college football. So we're going into this week. It's going to be the 3rd week of the college football playoff rankings. Obviously heading into week, I think 13 now? Week 12? Heading into week 12.
I think week 11, week 12. I know they have a couple more weeks on the NFL.
Yeah, so it's heading into week 12 because it's week 11 in the NFL and it starts a week before. So as it stands right now, the AP Top 25 poll, we have Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, and Michigan in those top 4 spots, followed by Clemson and Wisconsin. Washington dropped to 7. We have Oklahoma moving up a spot there to 8. Penn State 3 spots to 9. And West Virginia finishing out the top 10 there, moving up a spot to 10. So as it stands this week, the only thing that anybody can be absolutely positively certain about is Alabama will have the number 1 spot in the college football playoff rankings. Then from there, I would like to assume it's Ohio State. Ohio State's only loss of the year is now a stronger loss, having lost to Penn State, who is now number 9. So that makes that loss a lot stronger. Now, as the polls have it in AP and the coaches poll, it's Louisville, Michigan. Louisville's only loss of the year being to Clemson. Clemson's only loss of the year not being the team that is now number 3 in the AP poll. So to make that a little weaker, it is not a bad loss, but it's not losing to Clemson, who was number 2 at the time. So I would say that makes that strength a little better. And then Michigan loses to Iowa, or is that Pittsburgh? They lost to
Michigan lost to Iowa.
Iowa, so I'm right. Okay, then
Pittsburgh is the team that beat Clemson. Yeah.
Yeah. So Michigan, that loss. Iowa's probably doing a little better this year than Pittsburgh, I imagine. So it might make that loss a little better than Clemson. Also, I would say Michigan might have played a few more better teams than Clemson, I guess. I mean, I don't really know how they went 4-5 on that one. I think the toughest thing for me is I say Alabama, Ohio State, for sure.
Ohio State has to be in there now.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 and 4 are hard. Like I really want to put Louisville in there, but it's tough for me to put them in there, losing to Clemson.
But at the same time, they lost to Clemson in a game they very well close to
Exactly.
winning.
That's the thing
and
you have to
Clemson
consider
is
too.
Still, top 5 in regards to the AP. So that strength of that loss is very strong, as opposed to Clemson losing to an unranked team.
Yeah, and they're in the same division too. They are, right? Louisville and Clemson. And one of them are going to play in that ACC title game. They both can't play. They're in the same division. Mm-hmm. So as of right now, Clemson has that tiebreaker because they do have Louisville. So I do think Clemson's going to have a more legitimate shot of getting the playoffs because of that ACC title game. That's why it's going to be hard for me to put Louisville there. But Louisville deserves to be in the top 4 teams this year.
Yeah, I think the only safe thing to assume other than the top 2 is who's not going to be in. Wisconsin, they're not done enough.
I can't see them in
and
there.
Washington, obviously. I think the fact that they are number 7 in the AP poll is a lot, seeing as I guess the only saving grace is 15 is now USC, so losing to USC at 15 makes that strength a little better. I honestly could have seen them at 8 or 9. In the AP poll.
I think Washington's done. They had to go undefeated.
Yeah, I would say there had to be some wacky stuff happening within the top 2, 3, 4 for them to even get close. I mean like losses on losses.
As of right now,
I mean like a weekend that just happened.
As of right now, I think we can agree on the top 5 teams, not in any order, but that deserve a legitimate shot. So obviously Alabama and Ohio State. So we both agree there. I think we both agree that Louisville, Michigan, and Clemson can very well be in the top 4.
Yeah, they're still the top 5 teams right there.
Wisconsin, I can't put them.
They haven't done enough.
They haven't done anything. It's going to be tough for me to put any team outside the top 5. This is going to be hard. This is hard. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I don't have the answers, people. No.
I don't have the answers, people.
You don't got the answers, Sway.
So what?
Nice. Sorry, I had to drop that
throwback.
line. I had to drop that line.
So what I'm going to do is I realized afterwards, too, so don't try to get me on this. I realized afterwards that my ranking prediction was actually what the AP poll is. I went Alabama, Ohio State. I said Louisville, and I said Michigan. I think the strength of Michigan will put them ahead of Clemson just based off of, I think their loss is a little stronger. So that's how I have it sitting right now. And then Clemson, I guess Wisconsin being the first 2 out. I don't see Washington within that top 6.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
So I think that's how it stands personally. The only thing I can say for certain is Bama, Ohio State. From there, I can't promise you I would be right because
I can't either. You know what? I'm gonna go Alabama, Ohio State, Louisville, and Michigan. I'm gonna have to go. I wanted to go Michigan 3, but I feel like Louisville's schedule was they've been more impressive. Louisville's been a little bit more impressive than Michigan.
More ranked opponents through the year.
And they have a stronger loss than Michigan has. We're not going to have Ohio State and Michigan in the playoffs. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, one of those teams is going to garner another loss.
And there's no way Clemson and Louisville can be in the playoffs at the same time as well. I don't think it could happen because I know they play each other, but one of those teams is going to be in the ACC title game. So I don't know if both of those teams are going to be in the playoffs.
Well, I think one of them. One of them will have to be.
One of them has.
Clemson,
One of them has.
Michigan.
One of them has to be.
Unless, of course, like all 4 teams lose again.
Exactly, and then that will put Wisconsin, Washington, maybe Oklahoma back. I don't know.
Maybe Western Michigan.
Yeah, they were one of the 2 undefeated teams left in the country.
In the FBS, of course.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we will tell you and do our best to not rub it in your faces if we're right. Tomorrow, of course. No,
but we will find out. We will find out
tonight, and we will be on the show tomorrow with Anthony to discuss the shakings and the shape-ups of what this looks. I'm going for 3 for 3. Jeremiah going for 2 for 1 in our record here in predicting.
I'm going. Yeah, yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
But of course, we'll be back tomorrow to discuss.
But
that.
If I go 2 for 1, you're still ahead of me.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, there can't be. We can't tie because
we
you
cannot.
guessed the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So sorry.
I can't be
I
I
dropped
can't,
2-1 and you dropped 2-2.
I can't be 1-1-1.
No, because you can't tie.
So you hate ties, right?
Oh no, you hate ties. Anyways, we're gonna take our last break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk a little bit of Alshon Jeffery Bears news in just a moment. So we'll be right back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and it's time to end the show talking about Alshon Jeffery, who has been suspended without pay for the next 4 games of his NFL season for violating the NFL policy on performance-enhancing drugs. He said in a released statement yesterday that he took a recommended supplement to battle inflammation, and it contained an ingredient on the league's banned substance list. He was quoted as saying, "I take full responsibility. I am deeply upset with myself for not doing the proper research on this supplement. I want to apologize to my family, the Bears organization, my teammates, the Bears fans. I will work hard to earn back the respect and trust of the Bears nation and look forward to being back on the field." He will be eligible to return following their game on December 11th against the Lions. That's a big hit for a team that's already struggling. I mean, they are not playing good ball. That's their best offensive weapon gone off of the team for 4 games. A guy who's a free agent after this year is playing on a franchise tag. I don't think this will hurt him in terms of getting a deal next year. I don't think this is an issue.
I don't know if he'll be on the Bears next year.
No, I don't know if he'll be on the Bears next year. But I don't think that
but he is going to get
an issue along those lines.
He is going to get he's going to get some interest this offseason. That is something I do agree with. And Jeffery has been really disappointing this season. So, in a way, it doesn't really hurt the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I think it helps Cameron Meredith a little bit. He just needs some more playing time. He was the biggest offensive threat. But Jeffery only has 3 games this year with more than 80 yards. More than 80 yards. It's not a lot. He only has 1 touchdown this year. When you thought the type of season Alshon Jeffery should have, it's not the type of season you thought he would have.
Yeah, no, I mean, coming off of his career numbers and the way he's played before, he's definitely not playing the same way, especially in a year in which you want to have your best, outcome as a player with, money on the line in that sense. I mean, as it stands, in 5 years, he's had 292 receptions for 4,358 yards and 25 touchdowns. That's pretty good for 5 years. Seasons at least, if you look at that sense. So definitely not what he's used to doing. He's ranked 8th in the league in receiving yards since 2013. He's 5th in the franchise history with 13 games of 100-plus yards receiving. But like you said, he doesn't have any significant games this year. He's not having an Alshon Jeffery year. And then, that could be looked at as color going down and the team not playing well. But, it goes to say, if there's anything else wrong with him.
And he will be eligible to go back into the Bears active roster on Monday, December 12th, which will be before the Bears game against the Lions on Week 14. So he's going to have 3 more games as a Chicago Bear, because I think those are going to be his last final 3 games as a Chicago Bear. It's probably going to be Jay Cutler's final 3 games if he's not benched by then, or if he doesn't get hurt, which I don't think will happen.
If he's not benched by there, or if he doesn't get hurt. Or if he's not benched. Or if he's playing.
Or if he's playing, yeah. Either way, I think Jay Cutler is done. The Bears just have to hit the reset button here. I just don't know what happened to this franchise. It looks like they were heading the right direction a couple years ago. When Brandon Marshall was there, he was still effective.
Mm-hmm.
Alshon Jeffery, they had really good 1-2 punch there, receiver.
They tried to keep it going with Kevin White.
Martellus Bennett was there. Kevin White hasn't done anything. He's been hurt his entire NFL career right now. So it looks like they're heading in the right direction. Remember, Matt Forte was still on this team.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they had the talent to be a playoff team, but this team just never performed like it. And then they got John Fox there, and they still can't even play. John Fox, that he just hasn't had this team playing at the way they should be. So now this team is pretty much one of the least interesting teams in the NFL. This is probably the most interesting thing about the Bears this season. That should tell you something.
Yeah, that they have definitely been a boring team to watch.
Oh, really
to
boring.
say the least.
Yeah, and that's not good. And this is the most exciting news that's happened for the Bears this year. So I do think.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I wouldn't say this is exciting.
Okay, I'm exaggerating there. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But Ryan Pace, the general manager of the Bears.
Ooh, that's a good team.
The Bears of the Milwaukee, Chicago Bears. Wow, I can't even talk today.
You're off, man.
I am off. Ryan Pace has to hit the reset button on this team. I think they're going to go through a large, massive overhaul. I don't know if John Fox is going to be the coach of this team. I can't say that. I just can't see Jay Cutler going to this team. Maybe they can take a shot at Tony Romo. I think that's a little bit of a stretch there. But I don't know. It's tough to see where the Bears go from here on out in the future.
I definitely don't think he's back next year.
Who? Jeffrey or Cutler?
Jeffrey.
Yeah, I don't
think Cutler is either. But
No.
I mean, if they
Jeffrey
have,
and Cutler
if they have
are
nothing they can do about it,
Jeffrey and Cutler
have to.
Jeffrey and Cutler are gone. Do you think Jay Cutler is still a starting quarterback in this league?
Jay Cutler? I think it depends on the team he goes to.
Yeah.
Put him on the Cardinals? Maybe we're talking.
I think if you put him on the Cardinals, maybe the Bears, the Broncos, even though the team that he came in the league with, if he goes back to Denver, I think he has success there. I think Tony Romo can be a really good piece for the Denver Broncos.
Tony Romo on the Broncos?
Yeah, I think he could be pretty good because
they got Paxton Lynch. They're not going to go get a veteran quarterback that's going to start over the guy he drafted in the first round the year prior.
I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Get
just
out of
throwing
here.
It out there.
Send Romo to the Jets or something.
I think Jets is a really good destination for Romo as well.
It's something we can make a segment of and talk about at some point.
Yeah,
Jay Cutler. We got a lot we can put into that.
Jay Cutler's still a valuable quarterback. He needs I think the Cardinals will be a great destination for Jay Cutler because as of right now, Carson Palmer looks old.
Because he's got a big arm. And what is Bruce Arians like? He likes a big
throw.
arm.
He likes to throw it deep. Carson Palmer's getting older. He's not getting any younger. He's kind of failing, winding down a little bit. Looking kind of old. I think I can see. I like that.
Thanks,
I don't like it for the NFC West, but I like that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, of course, if we happen to make that trade become a reality somehow with our willpower, we'll let you know. But in the meantime, the show is over. 24-hour break until tomorrow, in which Anthony will join us, and we will talk college football and how this poll breaks out and shapes out, and the rankings at least. And anything and everything from there we will talk about as well, because tomorrow's Wednesday, and that means Wacky Wildlife Wednesday, and we have For Real.
Exactly.
In which we're going to talk about
my two favorite segments of the week.
I
look forward to every Wednesday.
Yes, you do. And I hope you guys do too, because until then, we're gone. Well, thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. Thank you, as always, for Anthony. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah.
And we will see you guys tomorrow. You enjoy the rest of your day and fill that void with anything football you can think of. We'll see you guys then.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.